Good evening, distinguished participants. On the behalf of Continuing Professional Education Committee of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, I extend a warm welcome to all attendees joining us today from India and across the globe. I am CA Piyush Mittal, and I have the honor of moderating this webinar today. By the way of introduction, I am a chartered accountant with professional experience spanning finance, regulatory advisory, compliance framework, and policy-linked engagements. Over the years, I have worked across diverse assignments, including financial governance, consultancy mandates, and politically sensitive financial structures. It gives me a great pride today to facilitate the session and be a part of program that brings together such accomplished speaker and an audience. Today, we are here for 73rd webinar on professional opportunity in IFSC regulation and auditing standards. In a short while, we'll start this webinar, but first I would like to apprise you about the CPE committee. The profession of chartered accountancy is going leaps and bounds, and its phenomenal growth has brought the profession at the forefront. Today, our profession has acquired an indispensable position in the business and economy. ICI continuously aims at developing knowledge edge so that the members stand out to the expectation of society. To achieve this objective, the CPE committee of ICI has been continuously striving for perfection, integrity, and knowledge, which makes the word chartered accountant synonymous with excellence in service. In this direction, CPE committee has always been proactive to emerging needs of its members, enabling them to acquire contemporary knowledge and skills to face the challenges effectively by organizing CPE programs and providing adequate opportunities. For today, we will have two sessions. First topic for today is professional opportunity in IFSC regulation, and second topic for today is auditing standards, the evaluation from watchdog to a barking dog. Our eminent speakers will talk about the above mentioned topics, uh, two emerging areas of professional interest. With this, I would like to introduce our first speaker for the evening, CA Amit Kumar Kedia. He is a distinguished CA and a partner at a firm, bringing over 17 years of comprehensive experience in finance and consultancy services. His expertise spans multiple specialized domains, making him a valuable advisor in India's financial landscape. His primary focus is on fundraising and financial strategy, reflecting his dedication to supporting entrepreneurs and businesses in their growth journey. His core competencies span a wide spectrum of specialized professional areas. He has deep expertise in regulatory compliances, including RERA and SEBI regulations. He is well versed in legal and dispute resolution matters, particularly litigation and arbitration. His experience extends to investment vehicles such as AIF, REITs, and SMREITs. In capital market domain, he has advised on SME IPOs and social stock exchange. He is also proficient in corporate services, including forensics audit and due diligence assignments. Further, he has substantial exposure to international finance, particularly under ECB and FEMA regulations, along with a strong understanding of labor law compliances. Sir, may I now invite you to take the session on professional opportunity in IFSC regulation?
Thank you, Piyanshu, for giving this wonderful introduction of mine. I thank the chairman of the Continuous Professional Education Committee, Shri Satish Gupta ji, and Vice Chairman for giving this opportunity. Friends, IFSCA is a very important aspect of our professional journey, which we can start right today itself. As very well told by the moderator, the committee is just trying to enhance the knowledge of our fellow members by coming up with these webinars. And in this series, this IFSCA is undoubtedly a very important and an upcoming regulatory measure, which is a very important aspect for our professional development. So the manner we say, like we cannot stay without having been global or without being there into a social media platform, In the similar manner, if we are there in our professional journey, now way moving forward, we need to be in and around this ecosystem of IFSC. Very specifically, I have kept the name IFSC and not written the full name. That is the International Financial Service Center. So similarly, as we know, like the head office of SEBI or the RBI is there at Mumbai. Similarly, the IFSC regulator is having its head office there at Gift City, which is uh, there in Gujarat, near to Ahmedabad and near to Gandhinagar. The background photograph which you are seeing here is of the IFSC itself, the IFSC headquarters, which is there, and the gift city is being reflected at the background of the starting of this page. So, what we would understanding IFSC in itself is a huge, a broad outlook, broad topic. It itself is a very big regulation, which we definitely won't be able to capture in this another 55 minutes, which has been allocated to me. But certainly, I would just try to see and make sure that an holistic picture of the gift IFSCA is there with you, each and every one of you. So, what we would going to understand would be understanding the infrastructure which the IFSC is bringing with us, along with the sectors which are there, where as a professional we can either work as a key manager person or a compliance officer, or we can facilitate these entities in upbringing by getting themselves registered and by seeing their compliance as an independent chartered accountant. So these are the major areas where this professional opportunity gets created, in addition to the opportunities like the fund management and etc. things. So in totality, it's a independent jurisdiction which is having all aspect which is required for a financial market to be there in place. So maybe the banking, the capital market, the insurance sector, fintech, startup, and so on, like the leasing, etc. So this is what we would be understanding. What are the sectors which are there available for we as professional? Then we would be understanding in regards of the taxation, how the taxation is giving a benefit for not even the professionals in itself, but to any of the entity. If the entity is coming in place and starting their activities at this GIFT IFSC, and over and above, like what are the benefits which are being given by the government, the Gujarat government itself. So this would be like the structure which we would be uh, adopting with. Just to start, just wanted to like apprise you with the last council meeting which happened there at Pahalgam, where it was decided that if a chartered accountant is having partner in two of the entities, one the Indian entity and another one the foreign entity. Then, having said that, we as chartered accountant are not allowed to be partners in any of the two entities at the same given point of time, or in any of the chartered accountant firm at any given point of time. In if in case we are partners in two entities, then in that case the the counting in evaluation of the CAG and the bank audit impanelment would be not be counted for. This was the provision just before the Pahalgaon committee meeting happened, but post in the Pahalgaon committee meeting, it was decided that if the chartered accountant is having partner in both these entities, maybe in the Indian and the foreign entity, then in that case also he would be considered that he would be allowed to be a partner and there would be no deduction and it would not be understood that he's having a partner in two entities. So why I was telling you beforehand, before we are starting this webinar is now if a chartered accountant is a partner in a CA firm which is there at IFSCA, then in that case it would be considered as a as IFSCA is considered as a foreign jurisdiction, it would be considered that these dual partnership could be taken by a chartered accountant. So this was an important thing which we all should know. So everyone who are participating in this webinar, if knowing or if not knowing, should have been apprised with. Now, friends, if we see where this gift city physically is there, then it is around 20 kilometers far from the Ahmedabad International Airport and around 5 kilometers far from Gandhinagar. So somewhere a triangular where like it's 5 kilometers from Gandhinagar and around 20 kilometers from Ahmedabad International Airport. It's a special economic zone. So this whole area is being divided into two parts. One is the domestic tariff area and another one is the special economic zone. So the special economic zone is undoubtedly is in the land of India, but it is considered as a foreign jurisdiction. So the law which would be applicable in this special economic zone, which is the IFSCA zone, where the regulator would be the IFSCA, and this IFSC is the India's first international financial service center. So if we see in terms of the layout, then this is how this special economic zone looks like to be the area which has been uh, circled dark is where this IFSC is there. Moving forward, friends, I am again and again saying it's a regulator, it's a regulation. What this IFSCA is all about, what the regulation had came in place and when it came in place. So way back 2019, the Parliament of our country have came up with this regulation where like they have passed this regulation and the authority, the IFSCA authority got established in 2020. So this regulation is a unified regulator where is SEBI, RBI, IRDAI, and PFRDA. All these four regulators have been merged, or you can say these all the powers for this special economic zone with was in control of these four regulators have now been consolidated, and these consolidated powers are being reflected by the means of IFSCA. So IFSCA is the only regulator if in terms of any capital market transaction or in terms of any uh, uh, banking transaction or in terms of any insurance or pension funds, any decisions or any regulations are to be made, then the single regulator, the IFSCA, have been given the powers to regulate, to frame any policies of these sectors. So hope things are clear with it. I will request the moderator if in case there are any question till now, then I would love to wait, love to hold for a minute,
Uh,
address the questions which have been asked, and then going to move forward, because the concept which I have told in these last 10 minutes is a very important concept, which like before moving forward, I assume it should be clear with all the members. So I will request moderator, if there are any question, he can come up with those questions.
Sir, we don't have any questions as
No
of now.
worries. So we move forward. I am assuming then everybody have understood like what was the submissions which was done in these last 10, 12 minutes. So moving forward, if we see, as I was telling, these are the four regulators who have been merged, and these four regulators are being now identified as IFSCA for this specific special economic zone, which is the International Financial Service Center. So the areas where the professional opportunity derives from, which comes from, is from the capital market, from the banking sector, from the asset management, from insurance, fintech, leasing, global capability center, and the foreign university. So these are the broad areas where the businesses, the professional opportunity do arise. So with the opportunity of these businesses, there comes a parallel opportunity for we as professionals. So moving forward, if we see in this ecosystem, today, there are two commodity exchanges. There are two clearing corporation, depository, broker dealers, clearing member, depository participants, regulate registered distributors, investment advisors, custodians, debenture trustee, credit trading agency, investment banker. So you can see in itself, it is an independent ecosystem, which is there. Then market infrastructure institutions, there are two of them. Bullion intermediaries, there are around 21, and there are almost three wallets which are available. If we talk about the banking units, there are around 35 banks. And friends, you would be surprised to know these 35 banks is a mixture of Indian banks, Indian private banks, Indian public sector banks, foreign banks. So almost 15 foreign banks out of these 35 are having their existence in that. Global administrative offices, payment service providers, payment service operators, they have started working there. If we talk about the ship leasing, aircraft leasing, finance company, International Trade Financial Service Center, these are the specific companies which do exist in these leasing and finance company which have started their business activity, and the number are like not in single digit, the number are in double digit. So you can see how big the opportunity is increasing, and how big is the opportunity is. If we see, In terms of the fund management, there are around 194 fund management entity. There are around 330 AIFs which are given there, and the ETFs and PMS activities are available for the insurance and insurance in reinsurance intermediaries. There are around 22 odd or like 30 odd for the insurance intermediaries which do exist. For the digital financial innovation, there are separate sandbox, there are ancillary service providers which are there, there are global capability centers, international branches with their campuses. So, if we see in net in terms of the whole business which do exist at this IFSC as on date, so there are more than 1,000 entities. So, to be very precise, there are around 134 entities which have been registered there. The total commitment in terms of the scheme which have been raised is around $26 billion. In terms of the funds which have been raised is around $12 billion. Cumulative debt listing, again a big opportunity for we professionals. Around $66 billion have already been listed, and the exchanges are having a monthly turnover of around 90 billion US dollars. So you can just imagine how big the things are becoming. So, friends, I can just tell you, we might have missed the buzz of financial service centers like the economies like the Singapore, Tokyo, Dubai, UK. But this IFSCA is just getting developed in front of we all. So the opportunity is big. How we as professionals see this opportunity and like to take this opportunity is absolutely depending on us. Now, if we see the capital market ecosystem, as we discussed, the turnover which is there in these exchanges are around $90 billion. In terms of the trading, if tomorrow, if anyone wants to get an exposure through the global access, then they can trade, they can have an exposure at New York Stock Exchange, Hong Kong Stock Exchange, Singapore, NASDAQ, any of these exchanges, they can create an exposure to the Indian INX Global Access trading methodology that could be created by them. If we see in terms of the depositories clearing, which is happening, so these are having around 70,000 demat account as on date. And in terms of the derivative and the cash transaction, they are huge transactions which are having on the capital market side. In terms of the fund management ecosystem, if we see, there are authorized FMEs which are there. They are registered FMEs both in both the categories, in non-retail and retail. And both the categories they do exist. It is like up to the uh, fund manager, which entity, which type of incorporation they look forward to get the incorporation done. So type of schemes, which so you might be thinking, me sitting at India, how I as an individual can invest in these schemes or take benefit of that. That is under the LRS route. 2,50,000 dollars are allowed with. So any of the individual uh, resident investor can take that route for getting their investment routed there. So type of schemes which are there, some of them are already in existence, some of them are proposed. So maybe the alternative investment fund, retail, the ETS, PMS, REITs, InvITs, family fund, or multi-family offices, they can look forward for this jurisdiction for coming up with their fund schemes. So if we see in format, if any of the AIF do comes, the foreign investor can come and create an AIF. A sponsor, trustee, and the investment manager can support this structure, and then this structure can get listed at the exchanges, maybe in terms of the units of an AIF, REITs, or any InvITs. There, the FEMA regulations needs to be seen and needs to be put in place where these inbound or outbound activities, in case the territory of India is being passed over. So, if any of the funds get mobilized from the special economic zone to India, or Indian funds gets mobilized to this special economic zone, then in those situations, FEMA needs to be taken care. They need to account for FEMA. Having said that, this IFSC jurisdiction is a foreign jurisdiction. This is not a jurisdiction which do exist in India. So any of the transaction done inbound or outbound in this jurisdiction, the FEMA regulations needs to be taken care of. In terms of the fintech and the tech ecosystem, again, these applicants can take an advantage. Maybe they may be the foreign investors, or maybe the investors which have been started their entity at the IFSC jurisdiction. If any of the startups wants to come and start their operations, then there are special sandboxes which are there, which is like the regulatory sandbox or the innovative sandbox. In case the product is very nascent or the product is very mature, then accordingly the startup can select their sandboxes, and accordingly there would be a handholding by the IFSCA, which could be provided. Again, world over, the startup Silicon Valley is now looking forward for the jurisdiction of IFSCA, where they can see this IFSCA as a jurisdiction to come and experiment on the innovative sandbox where these products could be launched across the world. So, not even from the uh, startups ecosystem of India, but ecosystem of the world is now looking forward for the sandbox at IFSCA for getting themselves go global, to getting themselves raise fund across and mobilize across world. So friends, if we see these ecosystems which is being developed in the startup world, the banking sector, digital lending, buy now, pay later, remittance payment, crowd lending, digital banking, for the wealth techs are coming, crowd funds are coming, personal finance, alternative trading platforms for insurance, open insurance, cyber insurance, digital platform, insurance tech. These fintechs are coming and getting themselves registered. For the emerging tech, the defense tech, agri tech, space tech, regulatory tech, the climate green sustainability tech, these techs are coming and getting themselves listed and seeing this jurisdiction to go global, and not even to grow global, they also look forward for their innovations, for their testings, and for their capital raising. So if we see in terms of the summarized form, the innovative sandbox, there are around five entities. In the regulatory sandbox, there are around three entities, and the number of entities which exited from these sandbox are around 42. So these are huge numbers uh, which do exist. So, in terms of banking, as I told previously, there are Indian banks also, there are foreign banks also, which do exist in this ecosystem. In addition to this, the global administrative offices have been opened by these banks, and the representatives office are also there, do exist there in the ecosystem. So it is not specifically confined to any specific part of the world. Banks, banking ecosystem across the world is now like coming and getting this advantage of this jurisdiction. So again, a big opportunity do arise, maybe in terms of giving them the audit service, or maybe giving them the compliance service, or uh, tomorrow if any of the entity across the country looks forward for external commercial borrowings, then these external commercial borrowings could be catered by these banks at IFSCA itself. So an IFSC branch could be there, where the IFSC bank unit, which is termed as an IBU, can open a branch of its parent company, or they can open as a subsidiary of their parent company. So you would be very surprised to know that at IFSC, INR is not a permitted currency. So except INR, there are 15 currencies which are permitted. So currencies like the dollar, euro, yen, British pound, Australian dollars, dirham, Russian ruble, New Zealand dollar, the Singapore dollar. These are the currency which are there and are being used as a permitted currency. So there, INR is not being considered as a permitted currency. So you can see it's absolutely dealt and work as a foreign jurisdiction, which is there. So the activities which these uh, uh, banking is being permitted with, maybe in terms of the deposits, uh, or in terms of the uh, shipment, export credit, derivative, dealing in derivative product, interbank lending, borrowing, primarily brokerage, distribution business, maybe insurance or any other product, loans, trade finance. Uh, these are the activities which a bank can operate, bank can do at these banking units. If we see the bank turnover, it's like from it's like September 25, the data where we are sharing. This 35 IBU have now changed to 38 when we are talking today. There is a cumulative banking transaction of around $142 billion, and there are derivatives trade, which includes the NDF. There are around $70 billion which have happened, and in terms of the total assets size which these banking units are having, it is around $100 billion, which is been happened till September. So similarly, to the capital market, banking ecosystem, there is an insurance ecosystem where the Indian insurer can reinsure or a foreign insurer can reinsure. There could be insurance intermediaries, or there could be web aggregators of these insurance which are there. So if tomorrow someone likes to, as an insurance company, someone likes to set up, then the setup can be done by the insurance officer office itself, or as an intermediary. They can come up with their distribution network where corporate agents, direct broker, reinsurer broker can be appointed. And for the service provider, the surveyors and the third party administrator can come and play their role. So again, opportunity for getting them set up, the professional opportunity which do exist, maybe in terms of their uh, setting up advisory, or maybe in terms of getting it complied with the IFSC regulation. So if we see the exposure in terms of the business which have happened in Q2 25, so it's around 210 USD, 210 million US dollars for the premium which have been already written off by these insurance companies, around $110 million, and the claims which have already been settled are around $70 million. And in terms of number, there are around 67,000 claims which have already been settled. So, if we see in terms of the regulatory view, the regulations which do exist, so there are fund management regulation, bullion market, finance company, reinsurance, fintech, aircraft leasing, insurance, aggregators, settlement, ancillary service, intermediaries. So in itself, like big regulations there, and in itself, these regulations independently have its own professional opportunity. So if we talk about, we as chartered accountants, if we look forward to do a global business, global exposure, then we can open our own branches there at this jurisdiction. If we look forward to take services to give for the accounting purpose, or a knowledge center where we do the processing, then we can set up our shops there as professional direct involvement in this jurisdiction. Now, if we see the tax benefits, which again is a very important aspect, apart from it being a foreign regulation, or you can say a foreign jurisdiction. Apart from that, the tax incentive which is there is phenomenal, which is very important, where there is an exemption of 100% of the income for 10 years, any 10 consecutive years out of the 15 years. So any rupee which has been earned uh, in these 10 years, which have been uh, uh, adopted, then in these 10 years, there would be no taxes which would be there applicable to these entities. Now, moving forward, if we understand that MAT would be applicable, yes, certainly MAT would be there, but there would be certainly MAT would be there, but certainly it would be allowed for getting set up whenever there is a tax liability which is against to be paid. So a setup of this man would be eligible and carry forward would be done. But definitely, yes, the MAT would be payable for these years. So if we see in terms of the capital gain, again, these transfers which are being made at this IFSCA, these are absolutely tax-free. That is, these transfers are not being considered as a transfer. As these transfers are not being considered as transfer, the point of getting it taxed does not arise. So maybe any of the securities in terms of the mutual funds, business trust, or any of the investment trust, derivative, rupee, rupee denominated bonds, or GTR, capital gain exemptions would be applicable. And so do on the units of the AIF, which would be applicable towards it. So as told, like MAT would be there, but the MAT would be again there would be a set of during the time when the tax do arise. There would be no commodity transaction tax which would be applicable. There would be no security transaction tax which would be there, and there would be no GST which would be there. And over and above, the stamp duty would be fully 100% exempt, so would be no stamp duty would be applicable on these transactions. Apart from the central government, the IFSCA regulation, the government of Gujarat, the state government, have given some exemption. So, in terms of the capex, there would be 25% support, which would be there in terms of the infrastructure, which is there would be a 50% exemption on the amount which is paid on the rentals. For in regards of the payments to the employee or any of the capex uh, which is there in terms of any data center project, then again there would be an exemption of 25%, which would be there for all these expenditure which are being done at the IT or at any of these cloud ecosystem or data center or at the R&D institutes which are being done these exemption. There is a certain percentage which is attached to it, and there is a maximum cap. So for in regards of the IT city, it is like the maximum is 500 million INR. For in regards of the capex, it's 200 million. For the R&D institute, it is 50 million, and for the capex, the power tariff would again be exempted for 1 unit for the 5 years where they start. So again, in terms of these exemptions which are available for this capex and opex or the related subsidies which are there available for the uh, any setup which is there in the Gujarat government which is giving. Again, friends, if I would request moderator, if like I would be starting with the infrastructure of the gift city. So if there are any questions, I would first love to answer those questions so that I get an understanding if like everybody have understood what opportunities I have told till now. So if you can just see if there are any questions, you can come up with those questions.
Sure, sir. Sir, there is a question. IFSC follows a unified regulatory model. Unlike the domestic ecosystem wherein SEBI, RBI, and IRDI, all other regulators have different regulation. But will there be a separate set of regulations, or is it the same compliance framework that will be applicable? For example, for banking unit, will it be RBI norms governed by IFSC, or it is a different IFSCA regulation? How will
So
that
this
work?
is so this is what is the beauty. The regulator is only one. That is the IFSCA, International Financial Service Center Authority. This authority would be creating, making all the regulation beneath it only. So, tomorrow, if there is any regulation which is required for the capital market, so the IFSC need not to consider SEBI to come up with this regulation. They itself, by the Act of Parliament, which was passed way back 2019, have been given authority to come up with all the regulation. Similarly, it would be going with the banking, insurance, or pension. So, as the question asked by you, in regards of any banking regulation or any change or any implementation in regards of banking, does IFSC needs to go to RBI? So the answer is no. IFSCA in this special economic zone, which I have told you, any decision making, any regulation, they would be doing at their end only. I hope the answer is very much clear to the participant. Any more questions or should we move forward?
No, sir, we can move forward. Thanks a lot for your answer.
Thank you very much. So we have now understood where this IFSCA, the special economic zone, is physically. We have understood what are the activities which are their permitted activities, who is the regulator who is regulating this. We have also understood in regards of the taxation which is there in terms of the direct taxes, in terms of the indirect taxes, the investments horizons and the investors who can participate, and over and above the state government subsidies which are available for these entities which get set up at IFSC. So, as a professional, we have also understood this that we, as a chartered accountant, if go and practice at IFSCA, we can do it and it would be considered as we are practicing or doing activity which is outside the country, that is in a foreign jurisdiction. And we have understood this also, like if we are having two entities where we are partners in both the entities, then the same have been gone through the approval of the council. So, in terms of like my concluding of this whole topic, which was given to me, the IFSCA, now I would be moving forward with the infrastructure which this IFSCA is having. So, It's an international standard infrastructure, which is considered as a world-class infrastructure, where there's utility tunnel network, there are data centers, there are social infrastructure which are there. Uh, it is having a district cooling system. So you would be surprised to know, like in the buildings, there is no air condition. It is done by this whole cooling system. Again, you would not going to find any garbage box in and around. All the uh, waste utility are being done by the tunnels, which are the utility tunnels there. A good big power backup power infrastructure which do exist with this whole structure. So, in terms of like the distance, we have in detailed understood in terms of the cooling system. I have tried to give you uh, a brief in terms of the uh, waste management. Around 150 tons capacity is there. So again, a net, it's a world-class infrastructure which do exist there at the GIFT IFSC. In terms of the social infrastructure, there is another like a separate residential zone, education institute, healthcare facilities. So brands like Lilavati, in terms of hospitals, uh, in hospitality, brands like Redison, many more to come. In education, many Australian university, one UK university do exist, club facilities, and many more. So again, for in terms of like good social infrastructure, which do exist there. So with this, I would like to sum up with my session today. And if you people love to connect me on LinkedIn, you can just scan the QR. And if there are any questions, I would love to address those questions.
Sir, one last question. Like, large portion of India's related financial transaction had been historically done in economies like Singapore and Dubai. So, do you think this IFSC can bring these transactions back home?
So basically, the reason why, like, I just start this answer with a small story, which is a real story of our Honorable Prime Minister, then Chief Minister of Gujarat, when he had went to Singapore. There, when he met the diaspora, the Indian diaspora at Singapore, he just got to understand that Indian people have moved to Singapore just for easement of doing business. That is, they were doing their businesses in Singapore just in terms of creating an entity and doing and keeping that jurisdiction for their exposure worldwide. So whole of their money, which was being accumulated, was there at Singapore, and no money was coming to the country. There where the idea of gift originated to then Chief Minister uh, Narendra Modi, our today's Prime Minister. So why I have told this story? There are many businesses across the world which are being done by Indians just because of the mere jurisdiction, they have changed their jurisdiction. So the thought is to bring whole of that capital to this gift jurisdiction. Their businesses would going to remain the same. The only thing would going to happen would be the base where these transactions are originated from, where they are being exported or imported. that place would going to change from jurisdictions like Singapore, Dubai, London, Luxembourg, Mauritius to GIFT IFSC, first and foremost. So tomorrow, what is been going to happen or which is happening is many of the PSUs have now shifted their treasury center at GIFT IFSC. So world banks which they were operating from different jurisdiction, from different banks, these banks are being this whole banking is now being done at GIFT IFSC. Similarly, in terms of fundraising, if we talk, world entities can now take gift jurisdiction as a jurisdiction for raise their world capital. Previously, we all know people used to go, entities used to go to US to raise ADRs, to London to raise GDRs. Now, world, a US company, a Singapore company, a Dubai, London company can come to gift, can raise their money through IPO, through bond issuance at gift stock exchanges, and can deploy that money world over. Indians can participate in this by LRS mode. World can participate like it is having somewhere outside India only. So the flow of capital, which had been, you can say, nourished or which have been enjoyed by these jurisdictions, so-called Singapore, Tokyo, London, Dubai, US, now could be done here at GIFT IFSC. So the answer was bit long to your question, but I think this clarity was required. So tomorrow, like any external commercial borrowings are so-called required, then all these could be now catered to GIFT IFSC. No corporate from India needs to go to any part of the world. Crosswords, any world, if they look forward for this jurisdiction, can now operate. So companies from US, companies from Indonesia, Singapore, Sri Lanka, Dubai are now seeing give jurisdiction where they would be coming, operating, and doing their world business to an extent of raising capital also.
Got it, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot for your clarity on IFSC opportunities and regulatory frameworks. This has been immensely valuable for the entire audience. Thanks a lot for your time, sir.
Thank you very much.
We are very delighted to see our participant count continue to rise as we move into the second session. Our second speaker for today is CA Rohit Porwal. He's a chartered accountant in practice and has more than 11 years of pre and post qualification experience in the field of bank audits, and is also a nominated member of Banking, Financial Services and Pension Committee of WIRC of ICI. He's a regular speaker on the topics of bank audit and income tax, and has rich expertise in statutory bank audits. He has experience in representing cases before various appellate authorities. Sir, may I now request you to begin your session on auditing standards, the evolution from watchdog to barking dog. Please, sir.
Thank you, Piyush for a very well introduction. And first of all, before we move further, I would like to thank. Hope I am audible to everyone. Yeah, or you? Correct.
Yes, yes, you are audible.
Okay. Thank you so much. So I'll be thankful to the. I'm thankful to the CPE committee for inviting me on the second time on the topic standard auditing. So I am thankful to the committee member who approached me for taking these sessions, and also thankful for Satish sir. Always thankful for him because he is a guiding light for us. He always motivate me to take the more and more sessions and to educate the people. And whatever knowledge I have gained during the audit process, during my auditing and my work experience, to share with the people whatever I can share. So I am thankful for Vishnu Agrawal sir for always supporting us and giving me this opportunity, because he told me that we should take the sessions on the standard auditing. Although standard auditing is known to everyone, I am just going to give my few example, personal experiences, and how to use that standard auditing, because we do audit, we read it, because when we completed our chartered accountancy, we read the standard auditing, we know that everything. But somehow, somewhere I feel that, because when I started my practice, I am giving my personal example and I will be sharing it from my evaluations. Because what we need to do, what is expectations of the governance as well as public at large, and what we are doing are little bit different, which might be Piyush, by you will also agree. Because the thing is, somewhere, because of the capacity, understanding, time constant, whatever the reason it is, but we are surpassing the requirement and of the standard auditing. First of all, I would like to say one word, that standard auditing is savior for us, not a burden to us. So this is my basic understanding. When I was doing the auditing, somewhere we were doing requirement taking. I am starting with the tax audit, that is 44AD. The 44AD form has been, I will say it as a form, not an audit, because the reason is this form has been become so larger now, and the responsibility to fill and validate the data, because my requirement to fill the data, not to fill the data of 44AB, the part B, my requirement to give an opinion on the part B, which has been given and filled by the client at least. So I need to express an opinion. There might be a multiple points where we need to verify the data, need to take the sufficient and appropriate audit evidence, and perform the audit to safeguard ourselves. So that everything has been mandated and prescribed in standard auditing. If we are following these auditing standard, then we are safeguard ourselves. We are safeguarding ourselves and our firm at least. Because right now, the regulator requirement and eyes on chartered accountant is very well known. So I will say we need to follow the standard auditing at least whatever extent we are saying. Although it is a recording is going on, but I will say it, जब तक जितना हो सकता है उतना हमको इसको follow करना है. So with this, I will like to present my presentation firstly. Hope it is visible to you.
Yes, it is visible.
Thank you. So it is a disclaimer from my side. I am giving this example, whatever I am saying, it is from my personal experience. These are the not view of the institute, not the committee. These are my personal view, should not be treated as any advice from my side. Thank you. So the whole session I have framed in such a way that what is the auditing standard, why it is ignored, how it is important, how to defend against the regulator, what is new normal, and what is significant of auditing standard. These are my major area where I will be talking today. I'll not be giving an how much standard, how many standard auditings are there, what auditing standard are saying it. No. I'll be giving an overview, how to use it in practical manner day-to-day life. That's it. My total session will be divided for 35 or 40 minutes. And later on, we will discuss one-to-one if there will be any query. In between, if there is any query, you can tell me and we can discuss. And it is better than we will discuss that it will be become a more attractive and interactive session. So why are the auditing standard ignored? I am starting in a reverse way. What is standard auditing? I am not just telling you. Why these are ignored? These are major 10 reasons which I identified. The reason is right now, because I am a person of banking audit and financial services, मैं बैंक और एनबीएफसी में ज्यादा ऑडिट करता हूँ, इसलिए मुझे वहां लगता है कि I feel that there is a not so personal touch from the banker and client size, that is auditee size, because the audit is being appointed by the authority somewhere else, and I am doing audit of branch or any authority or any special sector. So there is no direct personal touch. But in case when we are doing other audit, that is tax audit, companies audit, whatever it is, we are being appointed by the auditing. How we are appointed, I am not going to tell it. We are being appointed by them. They have the expectations from us that how to do audit and what to do in auditing. So because of a personal touch, there is a problem. Just a second. That is one reason is personal touch. Second is time consuming. Thus, following of standard auditing actually required a time consumption. When I was doing my first audit, at that point of time, I was just trying to leave the engagement letter. My first audit, I was trying to leave the engagement letter over. But when I read and someone has suggested me kindly read it, it is savior for you. And literally, it is savior for me. So take an example, audit engagement letter, management representation letter, communication with those charged with governance. These are the communication or collections of audit evidence, external confirmation, third-party confirmation. Everything is actually covered under standard auditing. If we are not able to fulfill the whole of the standard auditing, might be it not applicable to you or it is time consuming. This is the most reason we are not directly bypassing the standard auditing. So we should make a summary at least, which is most important and more important for us. So this is one of the reason I'm saying it is time consuming. Third is boring. Reward ratio. This is the risk to reward and remunerations in form of auditing. Right now there is a competition which we agreed that, but being a chartered accountant as a fraternity to us, we should not compete with each other. When I'm saying it, we should not compete each other. From my personal, I'm saying it, I never. It is my personal view, and I'm not saying it. But in practical life, when I'm taking any audit, if someone is coming for reduction of fees, I'm not accepting it. Because at least I am following that equal amount of fees or than higher than that. अगर ऐसा सब करने लग जाएंगे तो शायद ये रिस्क टू रिवॉर्ड रेशियो जो कंपटीशन की वजह से क्रिएट हो रहा है, इट विल नॉट बी देयर. So we agree that in form of tax audit or statutory audit, how much we are getting and what expectations from the government and regulator are there. There is a gap, but we should select the selective data. If I am doing 100 audits and getting on some amount, if I am doing good audit of 40, then I will be able to get that amount. Now, recently, the institute has taken in view that tax audit, maximum audit of 60 can be done. That view has been also discussed and argued by many of the members that restriction should not be made, because everyone might be aware that individual partner can sign only 60, not a firm collectively. Tax audit can be signed by the single partner. So the reason is it is to put the responsibility of each and every partner who is signing the audit. At least जब मैं sign करूंगा, when I'm signing it, I'll have something in my mind that okay, what I'm signing it, at least I should check it. If although there's a partner who is responsible collectively with me, but at least I will see it once. So in that point of time, at that point of time, I will be having some idea, okay, what collection of document I have done, what opinion I have taken, what MRL I have relied on. Is there any requirement to collect additional evidence on the signing part or something like that? So I will be more responsible and caution about it. Old stool thinking, which is the thing which I am saying it. Lack of trained workforce. This is the problem which we are facing in practice, because the more and more people wants to go into corporate and job. So that's why there is a workforce problem. And because of that reason, what we are doing is, because of that reason, we are facing that, okay, risk to reward is less, expenses in form of employment and salary cost is higher, and we are not getting a sufficient amount of work. And because of that reason, we are surpassing the auditing standard. Procrastinations. This is the perfect example when I say, I'll explain it at a later point of time because it is my favorite topic. Too small client. Somewhere we said that no, it is very small client. I'm giving an example. Recent which is discussing going on in my city. I'm from Surat, and in my city, many of the member and one organization has taken an step, because many of the certificate is being signed by the chartered accountant against the requirement on prescriptions by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. So they have taken a call that the certificate should be given in the manner prescribed by ICI, so that the person who was following the standard auditing and the requirement of ICI should not be defeated in second side. So they said, okay, right now peer review of the firm is, the date of peer review is 31st of December. And many organizations and branches has recommended to extend the deadline. in the same top point, that is we are very small firm. But these small firm are not doing audit, but they are doing other work which is certificate work or these kind of. I'll say certificate are more and more riskier than audit opinion. Because when we are giving a certificate, it is we know that it is true and correct view. Whatever it is written, we are giving a certification that yes, it is very well verified. And what time we are giving to a certificate, we know it very well. So by saying that we are a small firm, we need not to comply, or we do not have time, resources to comply the standard auditing, this should not be done. Lack of checklist, SOP and technology. Checklist, you know it, SOP very well. Technology, we can't run the auditing based on the right now the requirement, and we are doing an audit in the data environment. In the area, today is the not a word of ticking. When we check the bank statement and books of accounts to marking the tick yes whether verified or not. We have not verified from my age. The senior member who are there in the same session and other member might have seen that the auditing doing based on paper. But this is the day of technology, and I'm really thankful for the institute as well as committee of DAB, AI committee. They are taking a lot of efforts, taking regular sessions, courses and everything. Tools are being created by the institute. Then the AI committee has made the tools for the audit opinion. Whatever you required, at least they are ready to guide. Earlier, we used to read the books that whether it is covered, under which section it is covered, what audit procedure should be framed, whether it is qualified, modified, what emphasis matter of para, whether it is key matter para, where it should be mentioned in the story. This everything is covered by AI by ICI. There is a tool of Chat GPT for the every matter, the standard auditing as well. So we can use that. If we are not using a technology, we'll not able to complete the audit in timely manner, with less workforce and with the good remunerative manner. And last foremost is management pressure. Then first point and 10th point is cover which either that management pressures to complete the audit because of one of the reference or whatever may call it. So these are the major reason due to which we ignore generally standard auditing. Piyush, I am going in a correct way. Hope it is fine. We can proceed further.
Yes, sir, we can.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, now why we have understand that why it is ignored. Now I'm saying it why it is so most important. Because of these checklist only. बस इतनी ही चीजें हैं जिसकी वजह से हमको स्टैंडर्ड ऑडिटिंग ध्यान में रखना है. सो IRDAI, CAG, RBI, SEBI, RERA, ED, ICI ethical standard, disciplinary committee, SFIO, MSME, MCA ROC, income tax GST, PRB, QRB quality review board, peer review board, EcoCell, TAQRB for the listed and big companies, FRRB, NAFRA, FIU or EW. But because of these reasons, we need to follow the standard auditing. If you have a fear in your mind, we should follow the standard auditing. This is the only thing. And we should have a fear because the reason is the way our audit is being checked, our opinion is being evaluated, and notice is being issued. Even if we are a smaller firm or we are doing audit of smaller company, we are sitting on the top. Recently, I have seen before 4 days, ROC has given a letter to chartered accountant as well as company for not having an audit trail in the system, which is being used by the organization for its day-to-day accounting. And the auditor fails to report whether there is an audit trail is being maintained or not. The notice, the penalty for the auditor has been 1 lakh rupees and on company 3 lakh rupees. The company was too small. Even I can say it is less than 10 crore rupees of turnover. The ROC is selecting random companies from all of the areas, not only the bigger company. Earlier, we were evaluated, or the audit of bigger company were evaluated by the CAG or the MCA or the NAFRA. Now the ROC is first and foremost, which I came to know recently, they are evaluating our reports. So we need to take care very frankly. we should be ready. Many a time I discuss with many members, we are not giving a qualified opinion. We are having fear because of I don't know what reason. Because many a time management are okay. If we are convincing them that these points are most important where our safeguard is necessary, they convinced it. They might be convinced. One of the order which is recently came from MCA, that auditor has reported that audit trail is not maintained in the software which is used throughout the year. Because of that reason, the company has went suo moto to the MCA and ROC for condonations of these penalties. They went to suo moto, they paid the penalty, confirmed to the ROC that now onwards we are using the software. Because later today, because of these qualifications, they might be receiving any notice on something like that. So they themselves go for the adjudication only. So everyone, a client is not like that. No, you should not do this. We are not ready to accept the qualifications. Sir, in many of the audit, in the area of IPO and public listing, even if there is a qualification in the audit report, we are getting an IPO of 4,000 crore rupees or 3,000 crore rupees. Before 2 days, one of my good friend has given evaluations on the audit report, which is issued by one of the big four for the company which is going to be listed within a few days, having a 9 internal control failures, where the point was whether bank statement are not matching with the books of accounts. Audit trail is not maintained. Company's director and the key managerial person has taken the remuneration over and above the amount allowed under Section 197 of the Companies Act. Further, few more points there are 9 points which I can tell you. I can show in the my slide as well, because I will not name the company because it is going to be listed very soon. But these are the audit opinion which has been given by the auditor itself. Still, people are not looking at it. That's why my topic for today's session was standard auditing, a journey from watchdog to barking dog. It is not merely to see it. We need to say it very loudly. Then only we are the safeguard of public money as well. We are not an auditor to comply with the rules and regulations of the law, because we are an auditor based on the signature of whose is valued in the public at large. If we have signed the balance sheet, the trust in the public as well as government is understood at a good level. So we have a public responsibility on ourselves. So because of that, we should follow this standard auditing. What is the legal mandate to follow the standard auditing? Although these are the regulator which required, but what is the responsibility of auditor? These are the responsibility. Legal mandate, where in the Companies Act, Section 143(9), that every auditor has to comply with the standard auditing. Which kind of standard is standard auditing which is prescribed by ICI, or any standard auditing which is prescribed by the ICI in consultation on recommendation by the NAFRA. As of now, the standard auditing prescribed by ICI is the valid and applicable for us, and we need to follow it. And what is the basis of opinion? The reason, ultimate reasons to comply with to obtain reasonable assurance whether the financial statement are free from material misstatement or not. Purpose of auditing is what I said it, enhance investor confidence, achieved through audit opinion. Opinion might be required an opinion for whether it is giving a true and fair view or not. Obtain sufficient audit opinion about what to support our opinion, whether it is free from material misstatement or not. Conduct the audit in accordance with the relevant ethical requirement. Now, new changes. What is these? What are changes? I'll see it. Oh, sorry. Annual audit, other information, interim review. What are the changes? Earlier, we were doing only audits. Now onwards, we are doing other work as well. When I use the word IPO right now, whenever there is company going to IPO, they need to restate their financial statement as per requirement of DRHP. they need to convert their balance sheet in accordance with the India's requirement if it is not followed by them. So these are the requirement where auditor has to do work other than auditing as well. Correct. There are multiple headlines which is coming in the news. Peer review of auditor large and listed company requirement, empowering NAFRA. NAFRA has given unlimited power. We are getting the I have referred some of the order which is passed by NAFRA in relations to the some of the auditor and company. Red flagging, RBI mandate. There are large number of cases which is coming from disciplinary committee, NAFRA, or the High Court or Supreme Court somewhere. PAMLA, ED, Enforcement Directorate is on us. Anything which is happening, if any fraud is declared in the bank, the certificate given by the chartered accountant is taking in a very different view. So these are the reason which we follow. Sorry. I have referred some of the NAFRA order to just giving a clarity that what should we do. I have mentioned 4 or 5 NAFRA orders and major similarity in relations to the failure of standard auditing only. You will understand it either it is an non-compliances of related party transactions, not obtaining of sufficient appropriate evidence about the other audit work, other auditors work, not doing an auditing, not collecting the evidence and reliance on the management representation only. So these are major 4 or 5 point based on because of which the NAFRA has given order against institute members. The perfect example is DHFL. What was the reason? Failures to conduct the branch audit. Audit of the branches, the head office, the auditing, the company auditor, the DHFL auditor has relied on an auditor which is not appointed in accordance with the requirement of the company. Failed to conduct, I have mentioned audit of branches, fails to conduct audit of branches, reliance on the work of illegal appointed branch statutory auditor. Consolidated financial statement, failed to exercise professional skepticism and failed to report the material misstatement in his report. One of the perfect example where you must be aware that Adani, in case of Adani, Hindenburg report is there. They have mentioned that one of the auditor, Big Four, has left the job. The reason is they were not able to do the audit of subsidiary company. And when they said that we are not able to get the details and not able to rely on the documentation or the audit opinion given by the subsidiary company. And because of that, they have resigned. Although resignation is not insufficient reason, because the institute as well as regulator has informed companies that mandate that if you are finding something very important and you are unable to frame an audit opinion, if there is a fraud going on in the company, merely resignation is not completing your duty. You need to report to the regulator before the reason of resignation, along with if there is a fraud, which should be separately reported in the ADT 4. We are very well aware. Other thing is considerations of law and regulations, going concern. DHFL, there was a doubt on going concern, but auditor has given a clean opinion. And because when the going concern is doubtful, the auditor has to mention another requirement has to be followed as per the standard auditing. Fails to identify, classify, assess risk of material misstatement. This is the basic work which has to be done by the auditor before starting of the work. Because when we are identifying and deciding our audit procedure, at what level we should perform our audit procedure, what will be the audit procedure should be performed for the conducting of audit, it is decided on the based on risk of material misstatement. And because in the audit, we have to select a sample size based on which we are making our opinion, which is totally dependent on risk of material misstatement. And if I'm not able to identify and classify the assess the risk of material misstatement, I'll not be able to complete my auditing with safeguarding myself. Internal control failure and related party transactions. You will find that every order of NAFRA has the related party transaction role. When the auditor says all the related party transaction has been accepted as given by the management. Now, we are not only we are not the person who is doing checking now. We need to explore the other things as well. We need to identify, is there any transaction which has not been reported or hid by the management? We need to think on that. Lexus grant to India Limited, same point, related party transaction, an unmodified opinion, where the CAM is there. Auditor has failed to obtain sufficient audit opinion about the material mentioned in the CAM. Key audit merit there is very important now onwards. Emphasis of matter where on CAM. When CAM is, what is CAM? Key audit matter is where the matter has been discussed by the management. Auditor is understanding that this is very important for the purpose of auditing opinion, which has been discussed by the management, and mitigation has been there. What we need to report is CAM is there. We need to mention the mitigation in audit report itself. But auditor was failed to take the sufficient and audit opinion, audit evidence, how he has accepted the matter which has been confirmed and mitigation plan has been given by management. There should be documentation. There was no documentation. So auditor has done part job to mention in CAM, but has failed to take the documentation from for the purpose of CAM. Anshu cloth, the same. Non, when there is an things are, I need to more vigilant while doing audit. If there is an bank borrowings, I have understand that AS 16 says borrowing cost. If there is a borrowing cost proposition, it should be capitalized, and if not, then it should be penalized. In this case, it has been mentioned the non-provision of interest cost on the borrowing from the bank and NBFC. These are the total non-compliances. How the balance sheet and bank statement has been reconciled, I am not able to understand. Not making a provision according to Ind AS in case of trade receivable. Wrong accounting of DTA. In case of DHFL, it's also one of the point when the going concern itself was doubtful, the auditor has carry forward and continue the DTA. It is the basic understanding that when going concern is doubtful, the all assets should be written down and drawn down to realizable value. And DTA, there is no future about the going. If there is doubt about going concern, then how there is an acceptability of the auditor that the DTA, which is that part asset which is going to be realized, the profit has to be come in the near future. Now I have a doubt on going concern, the company will not run in the near future. DTA cannot be continued in that case. So one of the point in DHFL order as well, the auditor fails to confirm and the auditor has not reversed and comment on the DTA continuation of asset. It was one of the reasons. Inventory and fixed assets. These are my favorite points where we always mention inventory has been accepted as valued by a management. Same like fixed assets in reporting of CARO, point number 1 and point number 2, asset fixed asset verification as well as stock and book debt. Where we said inventory has been valued periodical by the management. We understand that the management plan and evaluation method is sufficient and appropriate according to the size of company. That's why we have not done the auditing, where you are not physically verified. If our organization is small, then why we can't do the verification of the asset from our side? When we are doing bank audits, I think many of the branch auditor are doing it. The reason is we are looking at a financial statement. The only size of this branch is this much. We must have a 50 computers somewhere, some chairs, tables, or some electronics things. I have find the things in fixed assets. मैं एक वर्ड लाइन हिंदी में बोलूंगा अभी वापिस. कभी कभी ऑडिट बुक से ना होके आसपास के एनवायरनमेंट से भी हो जाती है. We can find many of the things from the nearby surrounding area while walking throughout the auditing. And you all will be agree with me. One perfect example I would like to give. I was sitting on chair and I said, सर चेयर तो अच्छी लाती थी यार, कंपनी में इतना कुछ खर्चा कर रहे हो. बोले सर 3 साल 4 साल से चेयर हम लोगों के लिए नहीं आ रही है, ऑडिटर के लिए तो क्या नया आ जाएगा. When I understand this, my audit team said there is an addition of asset in form of chair, where the bill are available and payment has been made. And when employee is saying that there is no purchase of the fixed asset, the chair is not available for me for the last 3 years, it is something is contradictory. When we pointed out it, and my team has evaluated it, I have not pointed out, I say, my team has pointed out it. सर इनके असेट के तो बिल हैं, बैंक के पेमेंट होते हैं, पर स्टाफ बोलते कि 3 साल 4 साल से तो चेयर नहीं खरीदी हुई है. So we have doubt, and now rest of the story you might be know. So I am not going into that. Asset on lease, incorrect accounting, foreign currency loan, where the reporting of foreign currency on the whatever the amount liability foreign, where we have the accounting standard, whether the provisioning has to be made, the auditor in that case provisioning has not been made, non-communication of those charged with governance. These are point not those charged with governance as well as key audit matter are connected with each other. Whenever we are finding any important point and you would like to discuss with the management, and management are saying that these are not the understanding which you are taking it wrongly, give in writing, take the answer in writing. When I understand, आज जब तक ऑडिटर आप क्लाइंट आपका है तब तक सब कुछ देगा, कल जब ऑडिट चली जाएगी तब आपको कुछ डॉक्यूमेंटेशन नहीं मिलेगा. So I have made a practice that on the day, although this is recording, kindly ignore that. But my suggestion is, if I am not able to complete my MRL or any documentation, I suggest my whole of the team, because at least MRL documentation we can do at later point of time, because it is allowed by the institute as well. That the collection of document and compilation of documentation can be done in a later bit of time, some within 15 or 45 days as the case may be. But MRL should be taken on the signing, before the signing date. Because it is my personal experience when I'm giving an MRL to the organization after my auditing to confirm whatever they have said in my language. They are saying, no, मैंने तो ऐसा नहीं बोला. We have not said this. We have said it like way, that way, that way. They are arguing it. If MRL is giving before the auditing, before the signing audit report, you will get the MRL as it is manner you are giving it to. ये आपका experience होगा. You must have an experience of this. So follow that practice. Institute MRL audit engagement letter is framed in such a manner. If you are giving a copy paste manner, at least if you are not having sufficient time, modify the MRL which is suggested by the institute and take the signature of it. It will 50% reduce your liability. But it does not mean that you are not complying with the standard auditing. Burhanpur cement mill, going concern doubtful, non-evaluations of property, plant and equipments. Impairment loss has not been made. Depreciation charge नहीं किया. Fails to assess risk of material misstatement. Failed to perform the audit procedure. Fails to modify his opinion where the available. When I'm mentioning something is an EO, in that case, Burhanpur cement mill, cement limited, when auditor himself are emphasis some matter where qualification is necessary, they are mentioning that the emphasis of method were only. So we should understand that the standard auditing 706 or 700 series made us very clear that in what case, what kind of opinion should be here. That we have a two kind of audit opinion, modified or unmodified. In case of modified opinion, we have three kind of opinion, whether it is adverse, whether it is more qualified, whether it is disclaimer of opinion. And every opinion required some kind of documentation in relation from our side. So whenever we are, so when I'm saying it and I'm a person of bank audit, I would like to say again this. Many of the members are not giving a qualified opinion because they are not able to do the documentation. They are not want to do the documentations, because qualified opinion required a lot of efforts. It is agreed to everyone. How to make the opinion, what document needs to be commented. Because of this reason, people do not give a qualified of opinion, modified of opinion. Piyush, if there is any questions from till now, please let me know. Or anything you want to discuss, let's have a small talk.
Sir, so do you expect Indian auditing standard to move to global regimes like PCOB or NFRA?
Sir, as of now, because the requirement, my first section was IFSC. We are also working in the GIFT city. The expectations when we are meeting with that, although my Indians are meet with the IFRS, because it is the Indian standard is as good as it has been inspired by the IFRS standards. So I have taken one of the slide and I will go through the later point of time where I've done the comparison of the expectation and standard of foreign as well as Indian standard. So many of the standard are at least we are up to mark of 80%. So our standard right now it's good at level. If we are following the Indian standard, Indian accounting standard, then in my opinion it is we are at good level. But still, I am not about to complete the like we follow the standard auditing which is given by institutes. The other standard, it is little bit difficult for the practitioner because 80% of the firms in India is small and medium enterprise practitioner. They do not have sufficient time, and size is also we need institute might find a solution in the way that some the two side of standards or the things which need to be followed by the other practitioner or some sizable auditings. So in that way, I should think yes, we should comply and compete with them. Otherwise, no.
Got it. Sir, one more follow-up question on that. We have seen certain NFRA orders wherein they have specifically highlighted that audit quality couldn't be maintained because of very low audit fees. So, given the phase we are going in, wherein auditors are being penalized for what has been audited, do you think similar observations should also have been made by Indian regulators?
In case of NAFRA, there are multiple order has been issued. You must understand that many of the partner has been levied a penalty of 1 crore rupees. You should think about it, the audit fee is not more than 10 lakh rupees in that case. I was doing audit of listed company this year. Before taking the audit, I have taken increase my professional indemnity. I will suggest everyone who are doing audit of listed company or the bigger size, institute has made because there is a tie-up of institute with an, although Piyush bhai, I'm going in different way. Let me say it very clearly right now. I'm taking in 1 second. Every auditor who are doing audit of Companies Act or under any regulator audit should take the professional indemnity. The reason is we are sitting, हम लोग आग पे बैठे हुए हैं. We have, there are lots of informations we are working and हम लोग sampling बहुत छोटी लेते हैं. There might be something which might be left or intentionally ignored by the intentionally hidden by the management, and or during my audit procedure it cannot be detected. So if we have audit of documentation, it's fine. If we fails to collect the documentation, we'll not be able to make the payment of that kind of fees, because that fees I have not earned more than 10 that much of amount in last 5 years, and I need to pay that amount to take the professional indemnity first of all. So I said my partner or firm increase the total insurance policy size. So we need to be very vigilant in that. NAFRA, the Ministry of Companies Affairs, MCA is making a penalty to the chartered accountant, 5 lakh rupees or smaller mistake, non-compliance of a transaction of related party. 186, that loan and advances given by the company has not been reported by the auditor correctly. So these are the order being passed by the ROC, and it is, I am signing on fees of 10,000 rupees, 20,000, 50,000 companies audit. Although the company, many of the audit will go away because the government and MCA government has made a proposals to remove the audit of small size companies, but still we understand पीयूष जी कि कितना फीस मिलता है छोटी कंपनियों में, और वहां आपकी एक्सपेक्टेशन है कि ऑडिट ट्रेल मेंटेन करनी है. मैं एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल लेता हूं. Although the turnover is 1 crore rupees or something like that, where the tally is being maintained and we are saying that books of accounts, हमको पता है कि books of accounts कब बनती है और audit trail maintain करने की बात कर रहे हैं हम. In that case, what should I write in my audit opinion? Audit report, whether audit trail is being maintained? Yes, then I am on top. If not, then the 100% there is chances the MC will detect it and notice will be given to the company. In that case, who will give you the audit? They will not be continuing 10,000, 15,000, 20,000. Sorry to say that, but that much amount of fees we are taking from the client. So the level of risk we are taking is very high in comparison of remunerations, and the amount which need to be paid if anything wrong with the audit and any order be passed by the regulator, it will be very difficult for us. Many of my friends and senior, after discussing, when we discussed it in the group and very close group and CP study circle, many of those people said that no, हमको tax statutory audit of company audit करनी ही नहीं है. The reason is these kind of order, because they do not have strength or the capability or the time or the reward is not sufficient. That's why they are not doing it. ठीक है सर, नहीं करेंगे, थोड़ा पैसा कम मिलेगा. At least we are not taking a risk. So these kind of order, we should be ready for that. TKA, ICI Quality Review Board, they are doing evaluations of tax audit of listed companies. My senior partner is also, I'm not eligible for that. My senior partner is eligible to do the evaluations of tax audit and any other audits. There are multiple points which has not been captured by the auditor of the listed company. And it is very fact that a very young member has been signed that audit report. So we need to very caution about it. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot for your answer.
Yes.
As always said, like financial statement preparation and presentation is the responsibility of management, and whereas auditor duty is only to give opinion. And practically, this thing is not happening in especially in the cases of small company. So, what according to you is the change required at the organization level, at the regulatory level to cater this?
Sir, frankly saying, based on right now environmental, the compliance is burden by my Amit sir has mentioned one thing, that ease of doing business government in going on there where companies, मैं इसको उल्टा रिवर्स जाऊंगा, that right now the audit is going reduced because the reason is companies are removing the audit necessary from the 1 crore or whatever the limit they are being. It is I am treating it as another opportunity for me. Why? I am saying, and I will answer your question later point of time. Now, right now, I am giving in a different way. When I read this, that the Companies Act not meant, it is not mandatory to do the audit of small company. Even I am taking it as an opportunity basis. The reason is when there is no audit, the level of compliances being maintained by the companies कितना होगा वो हमको पता है. The accounting is treated as a least priority work in the whole of the organizations. Because sales and production, everyone is important. Everyone understands is top priority. हमको business करना है. We are not into the accounting. वो last priority हमारी. Books last में बनानी है. I am saying it is good. Let them do it. Let them not going for the auditing, because when we are doing auditing for the client now, we are suggesting more and more compliances to them. If any compliance is being loophole, anything which they have missed, like GST audit, if they have not made a provision, any liability has not been paid, we are suggesting to make the payment in the month of November, so that the interest at the time of audit of last 3 years, there will be interest burden of 18%, or the penalty will be there for 100 or 15%, what the case may be. So we are helping them by doing auditing. But if the audit is not there, then I am expecting that there will be more work coming to. So I am taking it in a different way. First is my first submissions to you. Second, when you are saying, and then when we are preparing ourselves financial statement, sir, this work will go like this. Because the reason is, although if the turnover limit for the GST purpose, I understand that 5 crore ki jo limit hai, if that will be reduced now, later point of time to 1 crore rupees, in that case, that requirement on maintaining of books of accounts from side of auditing will shift to that party itself. Other than this, the cost of maintaining an accountant in small and medium sized firm or the businesses is higher than the profitability, because the big organizations, like I'm taking the name of DMart, big supply chains, online players, when they are doing loss and supplying at your doorstep, people are trying to do the business with these people. And the small and medium enterprises which are doing from local side and everywhere, having turnover of 60 lakh, 50 lakh, 1 crore rupees, they are not able to maintain the gross margin of 5%. Their net margin is less than 1% or 1%. In that case, it is actually not feasible for them to maintain the books of account on regular basis. So I suggest that whatever we are doing for helping them, it is correct. But at the same time, I should not compromise with the thing which is required and governed by the institute, or which is governed to, which is necessary for me. If anything is wrong in the books of accounts, I should point it out. Either I should correct it from the client perspective itself, either I need to make a qualification of opinion. When I am making the tax audit, if the stock is not valued as per section 142(2), 145(2), where there is a comment, I always give a qualification of opinion in this point, that the stock is not valued as per section 145(2), the requirement of tax audit, income tax. But there is no effect. I am also putting that there is no effect, because ultimately, as institute has given, that effect will be nullified. So why I am feeling, why I am having a fear in my mind that I am not putting the tax audit qualifications? Let's put it. I have not verified the stock. MSME ki required. There is a requirement of MSME interest. So these are the 2 points where we discussed a lot, audit trail and MSME interest. And you might be aware that there is a clear cut requirement. My books of accounts and balance sheet is giving an ready to material to the everything, income tax as well as companies act. That MSME, we are giving in classifications of the classification in the balance sheet itself, the creditors to MSME and other. And nearly many of the balance sheet I've seen that the auditor has mentioned that MSME classification has not been provided. That's why we are not in oppositions. This is not certification. Then give the qualifications. Mentioning these points in an MRL and other thing is not sufficient for me. In that case, you required a qualification that the MSME provision has not been given because their categorization has not been provided to me. Either you give the disclaimer of opinion. Are you will be able to give disclaimer? No. Then give the qualifications. So something has to be done in that case. That's it.
Very well said. Like, I have a completely different opinion on that 1 crore audit exemption number. I can really
That's
see
why
a
I'm
lot of
saying
work.
when this news came, I was having a different opinion. मैं, अच्छा है मेरे लिए sir.
Yeah,
Because
I can really see a lot of work coming around in terms of litigations later on due
yes,
to this.
literally saying yesterday, one of my friend had referred me one work for income tax. Frankly saying, a silly mistake has been happened in the tax audit report, where the party has reported some amount of XYZ. Because of that reason, the addition has been made in the return. And right now, 2021-22 matter came to me in right now 2024-25, having total demand of more than 2 lakh rupees and interest of amount of 1 lakh for last 5 years. Now there is an amount of 3 lakh. There is just a silly mistake which can be ignored. If that mistake from the party side would be ignored, then there is no demand. Although the demand will be removed now, but for this, it is an opportunity for me. अगर गलतियां नहीं करेगी पार्टी तो अपने को अपना काम भी कैसे मिलेगा पीयूष भाई? Sorry.
Definitely agreed.
Correct. Now, what is expectation and what is gap? Knowledge gap, performance gap, and evaluation gap. Either we ignore the things because of knowledge. We are not updated, many of the people. CP, I think this is the 73rd session of CP committee. I have been given opportunity in the month of April as well as now. In last 6 to 8 months, 73 session has been done, at least from CP committee itself. Think about it from the February or to till date. This is the 73rd. The institute is taking in lots and lots. Every committee is doing everyone, but we are not giving our time to read, evaluate, evolve, and implement the things. So this kind of session is really helpful for us. So this is a one-to-one discussion. That's it. So we should have a knowledge. We should perform the auditing as per the requirement. That is, auditor do not do what standard and regulations required. This is the clear-cut reason, and this is the only reason because of which we are suffering these kind of notices. And evaluation gap area when the requirement of ticking audit has been shifted to system audit, and when we are not good at system, there is less chances we can complete the auditing in timely manner and in a better manner. I'll take few of the slide which is most important right now in my opinion. Just a second. When I say performance gap, I have one photo. The actual audit is being done by our staff. This isn't just an understanding. I put it photographs because I involved my team in the whole of the discussions. The reason is the work this they have done, it give me two advantage. They will be able to argue with the client. Whenever we are putting some points to the client, they says, no, it is there. It is already there. Your staff has not done verifications correct manner. Let's not fight with the client directly too. Meanwhile, my article, what I said is client and partner are fighting, and meanwhile, my article is enjoying the things. So rather, I do generally, I push my art staff on the front size, saying that you deal with the clients. You proposed what you find. You put before the client what you find. It give me two advantage. The client is discussing with them, they are putting in detail. And second is their motivation level is increased because it is just a reward to them that they are actually doing, representing the client and management, what they have identified. And this was the experience of my personal experience in my articleship. I'm really thankful for my principal for always supporting me. I said it, articleship experience is very necessary. Many of the people understand that articleship is not so important. I said whatever I learned in my articleship. My principal has supported me in such a way, if I am identifying something in any of the audit, my principal says this, he always say you represent to them, and he always say in front of everyone that he identified that. So it always give me motivations to do more and more work, to involve in the things, to identify the mistakes. So this is the very important, how to defend against regulator. The only thing is, 3 things has to be done. That is documentation, documentation, and documentation. Second is correspondence, correspondence, and correspondence. Firstly, our savior can be only documentation. At later period of time, we will not be able to explain without any supporting document, and no one will going to rely. Oral document doesn't have any validity. If we have some management representation that management has informed, take the underwriting from management. If I have communicated those charged with governance, let's take the communication with them. So our savior can be a documentation as well as standardity. So individual, what leadership responsibility is? Every firm, even if it is a small size or medium size, there should be 2 teams. One should who is leading the firms and having leadership quality, which force the whole of the committee, whole the team, to comply with the laws and regulations, whatever the extent it can be. And second team should be the person who is actually implementing the things. So these 2 simultaneously work can be a savior to us. Other than this, I have something new normals. That my point, this will be a last slide for me, because we are about to reach our timeline. So new normal is, we are not a watchdog, we are now a barking dog, because even if we are writing the financial statement, no one is going to listen. No one is actually reading it. The company making a loss, they are getting an IPO of good amount. Later period of time, after 2 or 3 years, I am giving the name because it is now in public, Ola. How the investor are facing the losses in the company, we know it very well. Second, we can Baiju is the perfect example, where it was, where it is, why it is. The auditor has given an opinion. Just after giving an opinion by the auditor, everything is changed. So what is the importance of our audit opinion is that much. There are multiple examples, I can say it right now, but you know it very well. So our responsibility, we should understand that we are the protector of the public fund as well as government fund. So new concept is audit by walking around. It was my perfect example. We can't do the auditing based on the large number of data, merely looking at our office. Many things can be identified while going through a discussion. So let's do the actual audit at the ground level. Audit trails. This is the point which I have already discussed. Non-compliances of laws and regulations. So my one frame is non-compliances of, unawareness of law is not an excuse. Means ignorance of law is not an excuse. It is not acceptable by any of the authorities who are penalizing us. Or AQMM. Sir, I am giving an, many of the member will not be agree to with me, but peer review, the board which is doing the whole job, is actually training us to collect the documentation and to manage the documentation file in the way we should manage it. They are helping us actually. Whenever there will be a peer review in your firm, you will evaluate it by 50%. I'm saying it. So do it, take it seriously. Even these are our, these auditor are our friend, professional colleagues. They do the auditing, they suggest some better way. So AQMM also a quality, the checklist which we generally do for 600 marks is a sales evaluations, whether what we are doing. And I always discuss the form 1 which is given by for the peer review. I discuss why before filling by any every other partner, because हर partner को पता होना चाहिए, those who are doing the work, that what requires to be done and what we are doing, so that the improvement can be done. Blockchain theory, increased trend of tangible and digital transaction in this form, we will not be able to complete the audit in timely manner if we are not using the technologies. So we need to adapt it. very frequently. Now the audit has changed from thinking audit to ticking audit to thinking audit. With this, I would like to stop my session over here, and I am thankful for the committee, used by coordinator, and the whole of the chairman of the committee, Satish sir and Vishnu Agrawal sir, for giving giving me this opportunity to present my thoughts on the standard auditing and to have a discussion with all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for
I'm
a
just
detailed and insightful session. Your analysis of the evolution of auditing standards and the practical implementation has been extremely valuable. Thank you so much, Rohit sir.
thank you.
As we come to close this webinar, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to everyone who has joined us today and making this session very meaningful and enriching. We had the privilege of listening to highly insightful deliberations today. Both sessions complemented each other very beautifully, one focusing on emerging opportunities and new regulatory territories, whereas the other one reinforcing the fundamental responsibility of evolving expectation from the profession. I'd like to express thanks to our distinguished speakers for sharing their expertise and for taking their time to address this beautiful community. Finally, to all the participants, thank you for your active engagement and presence. Your enthusiasm, questions, and dedication to learning is what making ICI a global organization. With that, on the behalf of CPEC Committee of ICI, I formally conclude today's webinar. Thank you all. Thank you once again. Yes, we can conclude the session.